Hi, my name is Kevin Spitler, and I'm the owner of Toledo Hemp Center. I guess I could go back to the beginning and tell you a little bit about what started it all, what inspired me to be here, and so on from that. And it really comes because I was born and raised here in Toledo, Ohio. Um, and about 10 years ago, I got into a work accident where it was an electrical accident, and I got thrown across the room like a little rag doll, really, and it screwed up my back and neck, and I had some PTSD from it, and so I had a problem with electricity for a long time. They had put me on a lot of different medications for it, whole cocktail of stuff, and it wasn't me. I felt like a zombie. This is before all of this, though. And then I looked into California at the time, and they were doing medical marijuana there. And then I looked into PTSD and how it was helping the different veterans around. And people were talking about it being a benefit. So I engulfed myself into using more and more cannabis and, down here in Ohio, illegally. And next thing you know, I was taking less pills, a lot less pills. Next thing you know, I was taking none, except for the pain. But for the actual anxiety, the PTSD, it helped me immensely. And at that point, I decided, because Michigan had just passed the Medical Marijuana Act in 2008. So at that point, I decided to venture to Michigan in search of relief for myself and not have to worry about being prosecuted for it. So I went and uprooted from Toledo and moved, migrated to Michigan. There's a whole venture up there from a hydroponic store, indoor gardening. I started out with, they helped open a whole bunch of compassion clubs around West Michigan, which were like little educational meetings that people would have to teach the different benefits of medical marijuana. I then evolved into helping open a medical marijuana dispensary in Battle Creek, Michigan, called Mother Nature's Meds, and was in operation with them for about a year, where I then had my own vision. And that's when I went to Kalamazoo and opened MedJoy, Community Compassion Center. And we were in operation for about three years, close. And we helped over 3,500 people there, from chronic pain to seizures to cancer patients and so on. Thousands of them. Well, after doing my work there in Kalamazoo for 3 years, we actually did a lot of community benefit, where my last year in operation, we dropped over 12,000 pounds of food out to the local food pantry. Did a lot of work with the MDA. I actually raised the most money for an MDA event where they lock you up in jail and you call all your friends to raise bail. Well, I raised the most money in West Michigan for the MDA event. I got invited on the old Jerry Lewis telethon. Now they call it the Show of Strength. I was the first dispensary owner in the entire world to be featured on a major telethon because of the benefits, the community involvement. And even after all of that great stuff that I was doing up there, there's a statewide decision came down with, I believe it was the McQueen case, that allowed certain communities to deem you a public nuisance if they felt that way. Their first opportunity to push me out of town, they were going to do so, and they did. They deemed me a public nuisance. I was forced to shut down. But oddly enough, about the same time, here in Toledo, where I'm at now, my mom got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. The doctors gave her 3 months to live. So I took a lot of the knowledge and the products that I learned from up north and started helping her. Doctors had told me she had 2 to 3 months to live. It was so bad, it had spread across her whole entire body. So I helped her on a regimen of a lot of different products, some of which are illegal, but it was my mom. I believe I helped my mom stick around 12 months. She made all 4 of her sons' birthdays again. She made Christmas again. And then she made her another birthday of hers. She passed away a week after. The day she passed away, I had scheduled an event up at a local venue here in Toledo called the Ohio Medical Marijuana Expo, where I brought in speakers from all over the country to come in and speak about the different benefits of medical marijuana. I also brought these vendors in. One of these vendors had these hemp products, and I tried some out, and it made me feel awesome, actually. At that point is when I realized I could come back to Toledo and I could help people here. I just couldn't get them high. So truly, the reason me coming back here was because there's all these other moms. There's all these other moms and dads and brothers and sisters that don't have a Kevin coming back and forth with the products or the knowledge. A lot of people suffering, they can only go to their doctor. So that's when I uprooted Michigan and came back to Toledo. I never planned on coming back to Toledo to visit family. But my mom's fight is what inspired me to come back here, set up the Hemp Center, and help people here. I've been in here in operation for just over 2 years now. We have over 3,600 people coming here. I bet 3,300 plus are over 55 years old. And these are the people normally against this type of industry, but they're looking for that benefit. They're tired of the pain, they're tired of the pills. They want relief. So it comes down to the acceptance of the plant and how you present it. It goes back to the apple tree. The apple tree was deemed one of the most evil plants on earth because people were getting drunk off of it. Because back when Johnny Appleseed was running around planting all these seeds, when you take a big red, sweet, yummy apple and take them 6, 8 seeds out of there and plant them, you can come up with 1,000 different apple trees. I bet 90% of them, if not more, are not something that you're gonna eat. It's gonna be sour, not very tasty, tart. So back then, what they were doing is they were making hard cider out of these apples because they couldn't drink the water out of the streams. They learned that in England. They're gonna get sick. They didn't have water treatment plants and stuff like that back then. So they found a healthier way of consuming and keeping themselves hydrated. So what we ended up with is society consuming this hard cider, people getting intoxicated, people getting drunk. So you had a lot of conservatives and the women of society that really had a big pushback on it. So wait a second, if we eliminate this apple tree, we can eliminate a lot of the derogatory things going on associated with it. So their push was to cut down all the apple trees, get rid of them. And if they'd have been successful, we wouldn't have the big red apple orchards today that you go get them beautiful donuts, hot, yummy donuts and hot cider that you can go to and get today because they wanted to eliminate it. But it wasn't until these farmers had shown up with these big red juicy apples they were growing that grandma could take and serve to the children at the dinner table of society by making apple pie, apple sauces. They found a benefit in it too, and it's a healthy. You can go to the store and get a 6-pack of hard cider, woodchuck, or there's several different kinds now, and walk out like a respectable human being. Whereas if it was back when they're cutting these trees down, they'd hung you from one of them probably. So it's like, how do we get to that same acceptance for this plant, the cannabis plant? What is the sweet apple of the marijuana plant? And that's what we created here was the hemp. Hemp, I believe, is the sweet apple that society can embrace, grandma can take to the children of society, and they can see the benefit from that. And at that point, I believe the intoxicating part of it, just like the hard cider, will walk into society and be accepted. One of the bigger questions about Toledo Hemp Center is, what's the difference between marijuana and hemp? Are the products going to create a psychotropic effect? No. The difference between marijuana and hemp is going to be the level of THC that's involved in that. THC being tetrahydrocannabinol, the psychotropic portion. With Toledo Hemp Center, we created the ability to use these plants in a beneficial fashion, but without the psychotropic part, without the high.